Hi, I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my theory tuition series where we're working step by step through each of the ABRSM theory grades. There are lots of resources available to help you on my website. If you visit sharonbill.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets. They're available to download in US letter or A4 and they accompany each step of this series. There's also a page with links to all of my YouTube video tutorials, and you can also access information about the books that I have available. I've written How to Take Your ABRSM Music Theory Exam. It's full of tips and techniques on how to best prepare for your exam and also how to best make use of your time in the exam room. So if you visit sharonbill.com, you'll find it's all there. If you can give me a like, that'd be fab, and please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated. There's loads more to come. And so we're going to finish off the last paper and the last part of this paper at the end of the 2016 grade 5 past papers workbook. So we're completing paper S, the sample paper. So if you turn to page 28 and we'll crack on with this. So I do suggest that you have a go of this first of all on your own. It doesn't matter if you go wrong. It's always better to learn by your mistakes. I'm hoping you've had a go of this and now we'll work through these questions together. So we're asked using semi-breves or whole notes, which means we don't have to worry about stems. We need to write one octave descending, so just make sure we do that coming down, although it'd be quite tricky to go up from this high point here, of the harmonic minor scale that begins on this given note. So it says do not use a key signature but put in all the necessary sharp or flat signs. So we need to bear in mind what the key signature would be. We still have to think in terms of a key signature but then add them in as accidentals, and then we need to just do the final point to make it harmonic minor. So here we have a C sharp and C sharp minor. If you've done so, if you haven't already, I would always at the beginning of a paper just write out your circle of fifths, all of your related keys, and that way you've done all of your thinking in one go and you don't have to think again. And so you can see that C sharp minor is related to E major, which would have a key signature of F, C, G, D sharps. That would be our key signature, so we'll deal with that once we've popped our notes on this stave. So we're coming downwards in steps, so we've got line, space, line, space, and so on. Spread it out, got loads of room. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we've ended on C sharp, so that's correct. Space lines, yep. And so the key signature, of course, we've got F sharps. We've got C sharps, we begin and end on C sharp. It looks like we've written too many sharps, but the C sharp occurs twice because that's our key note. A G sharp and a D sharp. So that's our related key signature put into place, but now we need to create the harmonic minor scale, which means we raise the 7th. So remember we're counting backwards, so this is 8, 7, this one is 7. The B needs raising, so we raise that by adding a sharp sign, and that now completes that question. Easy peasy. And so let's move on to the next one. It does make such a difference if you do all of your thinking beforehand and just write all of your keys before you get going. They always give you a piece of scrap paper in an exam, so I do recommend, that's one of the tips that I gave. Do your thinking once and it saves so much time instead of having to keep thinking about it over and over again. And so now the next one, write the key signature. So we do want a key signature now with 5 sharps, and then we want the ascending, so make sure we go up major scale with that key. So once we've got the key signature, we're nearly done. So key signature of 5 sharps, it goes in the order of F, C, G, D, A. Just I remember a poem, 5 cats go down Anne, and the sentence would complete in later. Sharps, whatever poem or anything that helps you to remember that. And so we need to begin on a B, because this is the key signature for B major. And so here's our key note, and now we've got that, we need to go upwards. So I've started quite low. You could start higher and have your ledger line up here, either way, it's okay. And so I'm just going to keep going in step. And that's job done. Let's crack on with the next one. Again, you do need to know your key signature for this one as well. So if you've done all your thinking once, all of these questions, 4 and 5, you've done all of the thinking before you've even started. And so we're asked to transpose or rewrite the passage as it would appear for the player to read. We need to transpose it up a fifth so that when the cor anglais plays it, it will sound these particular notes because it's a transposing instrument. And so it says do not use a key signature. It's just standard for a horn or any cor anglais not to have a key signature. Do not use a key signature, but put in all the necessary sharps or flat signs. So we need to bear in mind what the key signature would be first of all, add it into the mix, and then we need to address all of these accidentals after that. So at the moment we are in F major, and if we count up a fifth, we're transposing up a fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that takes us to C major. And so actually we wouldn't have a key signature even if we were supposed to be putting one in. So there's nothing more to think about. We just need to now think about the accidentals once we've moved all the notes up 5 steps. So I'm going to just mark out my bar lines, and I'm keeping it all aligned. And so although they've given us 2 lines to go at, 1 line is sufficient. That's plenty of room, and then I can keep everything aligned, and I know I'm not going to get lost and get confused. If my notes keep staggering away from theirs, I'm going to get lost which bit I'm on, and there's more than enough to be thinking about without worrying about getting lost. So we're moving up a fifth, so that's 1, 3, 5. We're jumping up 2 lines or 2 spaces, so e.g. B. That can be dotted, down a step. Repeat that note, down a step. Now this is raised, it's a C natural that's been raised by a semitone. This is a G natural, so we'll raise that also by adding a sharp. Up a step, up a third, that takes us to FAC, FAC, that's correct. So this bottom A, up a fifth, ACE, and we've gone down 1, 3, 5, 6, 1, 3, 5, 6, that's correct. Next door note takes us to the F. Now this was a B flat, however over the bar line the B flat has been raised by a natural sign, and so here this F natural must also be raised by a semitone, and we do that by adding a sharp. Down, so we've got the A, DFA, now down a step takes us to the G, BDF. Now here, this flat has been put back to the key signature. It's not really necessary because this natural sign only affects this low B pitch range, but they've put this flat sign to show us that this natural sign isn't applicable here. It still is the key signature, and so here this F sharp is not applicable, but I'm going, sorry, that's a flat sign, this is a natural sign, so here we're going to make sure it's back to the key signature of no F sharps, just to show you don't really need to put that in, but because they've given the directive, I shall also, you could also put it in a bracket to show that you know that it's not necessary. Okay, moving on. So we've got an E and a C, back up to the E, down a step to the D, down a third to the B, next door takes us to the A, right, nearly there, C, E, G, next door step, that's correct. 1, 3, 5 takes us So the B up a third, and as this E natural has been flattened with a flat sign, this B natural will also need to be lowered by a flat sign. So we've gone down a semitone, next door note, up a fourth, 1 through takes us to D. We'll tie that over with a dot. Next door note. Now that note there, it was an F natural and it's been raised by a sharp. This is a C natural, so we'll raise that by a sharp also. And then that means we finish on the D, etc. There we go then, that's all the hard thinking done. Now we've just got to add the stems. Make sure that we do that correctly, because we may end up changing direction if we've gone above or below. Because we've moved everything up a fifth, we may end up having to change the stems to point downwards in places because we've made it higher above that line. However here, although this one's above the line, these three are below the line, so they kind of outvote that one. They'll have to still point down. So we had to change that one round. This is definitely coming down now. However, the middle line can go either way. This one needs to have the stems upwards so the B can follow suit to accommodate that. Now, the B can go either way. The D needs to come down, but these other two need to be pointed up, so it's kind of outvoted. They're going to have to point upwards, I think. That's the best decision. There we go. They'll have to come down on that D and C sharp, of course, because they are above. So now we've just got a little bit of articulation. May not be absolutely necessary to complete all of these articulation marks because you've done the thinking in terms of transposing. However, let's just do a thorough job. We need an accent mark, crescendo, diminuendo, crescendo, diminuendo. There we go, and then we've done a thorough job to earn all of those 10 points. So over the page, you'll notice that we're asked to do a melody or put words to a melody. However, we're not going to do that. We're going to skip it. I do suggest you have a go at it in your music theory and practice workbook, but the 2018 syllabus, the newly revised theory exam syllabus, no longer requires us to complete this question. So although it's good to have a go and know what's required, we don't need to do this for the exam, and so we're going to skip it and turn over the page to this last question, which is the cadence points. So we need to choose some suitable chord progressions for these two cadence points, these two ending sections, and we have to recognise cadences, so we need to choose the particular chords that will make those cadences. But before we can do that, we need to find out what key we're in, otherwise we won't know which chords to be choosing from. So we've got a key signature of F sharps, nothing else tells us otherwise, and so we're in G major, and so chords 1, 2, 4 and 5 in G major. Chord 1 will be built on a G, chord 2 will be built on A, chord 3 we don't use in this case, it's a bit too obscure for our purposes at this grade. A, B, C is chord 4, D is chord 5, and then we choose our triads built on the first, the third and the fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we want a G, B, D, A, C, E, C, E, G, D, F, A. And I know of course that there are F sharps, but your key signature will take care of all of that, so we don't need to worry ourselves. So I'm going to start on this A, B cadence point, this first cadence point, and I'm going to begin with chord B. So I've got an idea of what cadence we might be heading towards. So I've got a D and a B. And so the only chord that accommodates both of those notes is chord 1. So we could be having a perfect cadence, which is 5-1, or we could be having a plagal cadence, which is 4-1. And so let's see what we've got here. So out of this group of notes in bracket A, you can see this little semiquaver D here isn't actually part of our harmony. That's just a passing note. We're just passing through by step, and it's just filling in the gap between these outside harmony notes. The harmony notes are the G, the C and the E, which is a C chord. It's a chord 4. So we've got a plagal cadence, 4-1. It's like a gentle amen kind of close. If it is that you get confused by this passing note, you can always just sort of ignore it and just choose which chord fits best. However, you may get confused and choose the wrong chord because we want a C, a G and an E. The fact that there's a passing note D doesn't fit in that, but you can still see that the chord 4 is the best choice. You've got 3 out of 4 of those notes. So the D still shouldn't throw you too much, even if you don't quite see the passing note, but you can just see how it's just step by step passing through, so it's easier to just discount that straight away. So we've got a nice plagal cadence there. Let's look at the next one. So I'm going to look at the end chord first of all, so I've got a clue where we're heading to, and again you can see we've got another passing note here. That note is not part of the harmony, that G isn't, it's just passing through by step, filling in that in-between gap. The actual harmony notes that we've got are an F, an A and a D. Of course it's an F sharp, but your key signature will deal with that, so there's no need to concern yourself with that. And so an F, an A and a D, we can see that chord 5 fulfills that, so we're heading towards an imperfect cadence, and so really anything to 5 will give us an imperfect cadence, so we've not really got much of a clue. So let's see what's happening here. Again, we've got another passing note, so in the bracket of D we can see that in between passing note, and the harmony notes are the B, the G and the D, and you can see B, G, D is a chord 1. That's the best choice. We can't choose whether it's root position or inversion because there are no bass notes, so we're not required to answer that. There's not enough information there for us. So the last one we need to choose, we've got a C, an A and a C, and chord 2 gives us both of those notes, and chord 2 is always a handy preparation for a cadence, so we know that makes good harmonic sense. And that's that paper completed. I do hope that you found that beneficial. I hope you've enjoyed that. I've certainly enjoyed working through it with you. If you can give me a like, that'd be really encouraging, and please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated. Please also do visit sharonbill.com and make use of all the resources that's available there to help you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.